We're all going to die. Basically, that's what happens to us when we're born. We are born and then we're going to die. And that's the beauty of life and the beauty of being born is being dead. And welcome to episode 10 of the Heavy Bangs podcast. I am your host, Lance, and I'm here with my co-host and wife, Mischa.
Yeah, you're here with me.
And we're here together. And I just want to say thank you guys for listening. Thank you for paying attention to the podcast so far. You know, we're really trying to do our best. I want to make sure and make this thing good for the listeners, maybe a little something for the listeners to take home with them. And if they're at home, maybe something they can take on the road with them when they leave. So appreciate the support, and we're just going to kind of dive into it. Do we have any corrections from last episode?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, that's great. I guess first things first is your name's different. Your name's different.
According to the Social Security Administration, it is.
Yes, your name is now Mischa Paullin, legally. And that happens to be my last name, Paullin.
Yes.
Because you are my wife.
Yes.
How did that make you feel to change it?
Well,
for one, I am honored that you wanted to take my last name.
yeah. I thought about it a lot. And
okay, well, that doesn't make me feel all that great.
Well, I thought about
it a lot?
Well, yeah.
It takes a lot to think about when you love somebody and you want to take their name?
Yeah, because I also love my name. And what it, the history behind my name.
Sure, there's a lot of great history.
Yeah. And of course, my family.
Of course, yeah, there's a family, your family tree.
So when I say I thought about it a lot, I could have, went the other direction.
And I would just get your last name?
Or that, but I could have just kept my own name.
You could have, and I told you could have.
I know.
And I'm not in charge of you.
Right.
You can do whatever you want.
But I thought of it as a gift from you to me.
Oh, yes, it kind of is. Yes, it kind of is. Well, it kind of is. Yeah, it is.
And I like the way it sounds.
Yeah, it sounds good.
And I do love you.
I love you as well.
But
I love you so much.
And I also love you so much. But there was a bit of a feeling of like,
I'm a new person.
Well, like more, yes, but more like losing a leg.
Oh, yeah.
Or, just something that's been a part of me
Mm-hmm.
my whole life.
Yeah.
And I've obviously identified with it.
With having both legs.
And with having both legs. But I've identified as well with
being
the last name McCortney.
Oh, yeah, right. And being a McCortney. So being a woman with legs whose last name is McCortney.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of no legs, I mean, I was just watching Felipe.
Yeah, I know. You watch a lot of that.
God, that guy on his skateboard, no legs, can just demolish things on his skateboard.
It is very impressive.
Impressive is speaking very lightly. It's speaking very lightly.
What would be a better word?
Pure insanity.
Really?
Oh my God.
Insanity?
To see someone whose legs have been removed from their kneecaps and watch this person not only be a professional skateboarder, but to do maneuvers people with legs can't even do.
Mm-hmm.
And then to roll away on his ass on his skateboard and with so much style. Anyway.
But pure insanity?
Pure insanity.
That's how you describe it. That's the best way. That's better than impressive.
That's impressive, or that's pure insanity.
Okay, but I mean, you go to, an insane asylum.
Yeah.
And
pure insanity in there.
You see some of the patients and what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
And you're saying what they're dealing with is equivalent to Felipe with no legs on a skateboard?
Well, it really kind of depends where they are mentally. Depends on what they're doing. If
well,
they're
in
in a different place.
They're not doing so well mentally.
Well, that's what I mean.
And neither
but
is
if they're jumping down rails and doing flips and into grinds and stuff in their head, then I mean, yeah, it's pure insanity. It's the same thing Felipe's doing.
But the chances, I think, are slim.
Well, sure, yeah, because they are not even skateboarding. They're in an insane asylum.
So maybe pure insanity isn't the best way to describe it.
Oh, well, I think pure insanity is a pretty good way to describe it if you've seen his maneuvers. And I'm spacing his last name right now, but it starts with a G, I think. But I think he's a Brazilian dude. But will you look him up, please? Just because thank you. Look up Felipe.
Oh, I know how to look it up.
No Lakes Professional Skateboarder Birdhouse.
I think I'll figure it out.
Because he's writing for Birdhouse Skateboarders. Actually, I found out about this guy through Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk has been, and I'm not friends with Tony Hawk, I'd like to be, but Tony Hawk has been pushing this guy and getting him tons of exposure since I think he added him to the team. And the guy is just insane.
Pure
insanity.
Pure insanity.
What's his name?
Nunez.
Yo, Nunez. Yeah. Felipe Nunez?
Yes.
Got it. Yeah. Felipe Nunez. And he's Brazilian?
Yep.
Brazilian.
He hails from Brazil. He is 20 years old.
Jesus. 20 years old. Are you kidding? Wow.
Lost both legs when he was 6.
How?
Well, I was 6 when it happened, but the doctor said it was super fast. Would you like me to figure it out? I mean, I
am just curious how he lost his legs. I mean, since we're on the topic just for a quick second.
This is what he said in an interview with Thrasher.
Oh, Thrasher. Shouts out to Thrasher magazine, by the way, my skate Bible. Technically, even my real life Bible.
I was 6 when it happened, but the doctor said it was super fast. I didn't really hesitate because I was so young. I used a wheelchair until about the age of 11. Why isn't he telling us why?
Gosh. That's stressful to think about, having to lose your legs. To have them and then no longer have them. And when you're so young even, to lose them right out of the gate. And then to
Well, it's almost better to lose them out of the gate.
For sure.
Lose them.
Right, before you get used to them. Before you really kind of settle into them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like he said, he was so young.
So young.
He just sort of adapted.
I mean, he's learning how to say dog and how to spell cat.
Train accident.
Are you joking me?
Yeah.
A train accident?
A train accident.
What happened to his legs on the train?
Felipe lost his legs playing on a moving train with friends at 6 years old.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Felipe Nunez, my hat's off to you. You're an incredible skateboarder. Anyway, wow, what a bad way to lose them.
Well, there's no good way to lose your legs.
There's really no good way, but I can imagine a moving train accident would be one of the worst ways you can lose them.
You could say that, or you could say, hey, he was doing what he loved to do,
which is play on trains.
Play on trains.
And kids love trains. And
Seems
I know
like they do.
I love trains. I know that growing up, both of my grandfathers worked on the railroad their entire lives. So trains were really big in my childhood, and I had lots of toy trains. I was a big fan of Thomas the Tank engine. I Think I Can, which was really kind of my mantra for a really long time. Was I Think I Can, and it worked. It really kind of helped keep me going.
Good.
So anyway, Felipe Nunez, he just had a new part that just came out on Thrasher Magazine's YouTube channel. I think it was this morning, if not yesterday. And I do recommend checking it out. The next thing I want to kind of talk about this episode is we're going to kind of go into it with Mischa's hair being everywhere.
Okay.
It's everywhere. I don't know if you guys are having this issue with your...
Everybody loses hair.
Everyone loses. Of course, we all lose hair.
We all lose hundreds of hairs every day.
Of course we do.
Or probably.
Yeah. That's fine, and that's great. And I love that we do. I think it's great for the body to kind of shed things and regrow. But I have been finding your hairs in all sorts of places. And I don't know what it is about females and their hair, but...
It's just I have long hair. It's not females in their hair.
It's a.
You lose hair.
I do too.
And we know it.
Okay, first of all, yeah, I lose hair. I'm a big shedder, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not losing my hair. I have a full head of hair, and it's not going anywhere. What I'm saying is that it's a woman thing. It's ladies tend to put their hairs in things.
It's normal to lose anywhere between 50 to 100 strands of hair per day.
Excellent. So, well, great. Well, that's and where are you supposed to put them when you do lose them? Are you supposed to hold on to them, or are you supposed to put them in place?
Well, it depends on what you're into. If you're into different sorts of magic,
okay. Well, here's
then I think it behooves you to hold on to those hairs.
Okay. Well, here's what I do know. I'm finding your hairs in all sorts of places. And I've found, like, these are places I've found your hairs. I have found them in my underwear. I found them inside of my underwear, and while wearing my underwear, I will pull them out of my underwear because I will have a tickle. Another place I found them is wrapped around my ball sack. I've literally had your hairs wrapped around the sack of my nuts like it was a corset. And like you're strangulating my testicles. Do you know what I mean? So if I were going to be stroking my chicken, it's a masturbatory term.
Yeah, you've used it before.
Okay, so if I were to be stroking my chicken and I were going to be spraying my ejaculate out of my chicken, I would not be able to because of the hair had been strangulating my testicle sac. That's another place. I've also I've found them inside of my own asshole. I found them in my asshole.
What are you doing in your asshole?
Nothing. There's no anal play going on.
Well, then what are you looking for in there?
I'm not looking for anything. I'm feeling a tickle inside of my body. And I will go to where the tickle is and I will find a tickle. I won't even have to insert hands into asshole. There will be a little bit of a hair and I will grab it and I will have pulled it out.
That has never happened.
This has happened several times where I'm pulling your hair through my intestinal tract, and I don't even mean to try to go down that road.
That's never happened to me.
Thank God. Because I'm telling you that I'm finding them in all sorts of places. That's happened to me multiple times, and I'm still holding on to it. And I feel like I have it in my hand, and I'm going to shake it off.
What? Why you got to throw that away?
I'm throwing the hair.
Came out of your ass.
It's a metaphorical hair. I'm not going to hold on to it during the podcast, so I'm letting it go. I found your hairs there. I've literally gotten out of the shower and washed every ounce of my body. I probably have even cleaned my own asshole at this point, inside and out.
Inside?
And inside, I'll even get inside sometimes to give it a good clean.
You do not do that.
Sometimes I do. You got to get clean.
What are your tools?
I put the soap right in there.
You put the bar of soap in your ass.
It's the only way I know how to clean. From the inside out. So yeah, I'll put the whole bar in there, and it is nice with a little it has a little exfoliant with like the chunks of oatmeal in it. Are there oats in the soap? There's chunks of food in it, like oats. Anyway, that stuff seems to really help with exfoliating the inside. So I have found it inside of my asshole after a shower even, which is pure insanity, really. It is pure insanity because I don't know where they're coming from or how they're getting up there.
You just need to be more careful.
I'm being as careful as I can. I have a lint roller on me. When I leave the house, I grab a mask and I grab a lint roller and a set of tweezers just in case I need to get something, get your hairs off of me. Another place that I have even found them is in the silverware drawer. I found them in the silverware drawer next to the spoons. And, well, you never want to see those two together. That's for sure, especially when you're thinking of food. But I found them in the drawer, and the drawer's not even open that long. The drawer's open it, to close it immediately, which is, I don't even know how you do that. That's like some sort of magic trick where you can open a drawer for 3 seconds, grab a spoon, and then wad up a ball of hair and put it next to the spoon.
Is it a ball of hair that you're finding next to the spoon?
It might as well have been. At first, I thought it was a ball of yarn. And I was like, what is a yarn doing in the silverware drawer? It goes in the junk drawer. So yeah. Another place I found your hair. I've literally found your hair on my own head of hair. Just attaching itself to my own head. That's not so crazy.
You lay on a pillow. We're
not sharing pillows. We have separate pillows.
Yeah, but I know I've seen you. Once I get out of bed, you then sprawl and you sometimes
I like to have a little space. But here's the point, is that your hair is trying to identify with even my own hair. I'm starting to wonder if your hair is having an identity crisis. Because
we lose hair probably at a very similar rate. My hairs are way longer than yours, so they're just more noticeable.
Okay, but no.
But you are losing just as much hair.
Okay, I found your hair in the freezer.
I don't even know if I can believe you.
In an electric ice box.
In an electric ice box.
That's what a freezer is. It's an electric ice box. I found your hair in the freezer next to the ice cubes. What the hell are you doing in there with your hair? But what I'm asking you is, and this is, and please don't take this as an attack. But what are you doing with them? What are you doing? What are you doing in the freezer? What are you taking out of the freezer that's also causing your hair to come off of you and inside of it? You have not seen
my hair in the freezer.
I have pulled your hair from the freezer, and I have. Oh, are you yawning right now? This is boring you. Okay, so I pulled your hair from the freezer and put it in the garbage immediately, and I'm pretty sure I even let you know.
Well, look, my hair is long.
I just want to know for any of our listeners.
My hair is long, and I can do this right now, and I just got one.
Okay, great. Well, now I'm going to find that one
There's
somewhere.
Two.
Okay, well, let's put that. Okay, now she's pulling her hair out. What has this episode turned into already? Look, put that somewhere, because I do not want to find that anywhere near my testicles.
We got the new vacuum.
It's fine. We got the new vacuum. Yeah, that's another place I found him. Is inside the vacuum.
Well, yeah.
Before I've even used it, is what I'm saying. That's premature. It's premature. That's all. And I'm just basically saying this because I'd like to reach out to the listeners, and I'd like to know if everybody
loses hair.
Everybody loses hair. Of course, we all know that we lose hair. I have yawning again. Bringing your best to this episode as you're breathing heavily into the microphone. My co-host, everybody. I just am saying, for the listeners, I just would like to know, for all of the male listeners who are in relationships or with a woman, or maybe with a man who has woman hair.
It's okay. First of all, woman hair.
Long hair. Long hair. Okay, whatever. There's nothing. I'm not saying if you have long hair, you have woman hair. I'm just saying.
That's what you just called long hair.
Okay, well, hair. I'm thinking it's not woman hair. It's long hair. But yeah. Okay, well, you're putting a sex on it.
What?
I don't know.
I'm not. You just did.
Okay, well, I take it back. I retract it.
Okay, good.
So, if you're a man who is with a woman, or man with a man who has hair that is long or that is similar to a woman's, I would like to know: are you
Stop with the similar to a woman's? Because women have short hair and men have long hair, and always have throughout all of history.
Of course, they have.
Men have had long hair plenty of times.
100%, and you can
until Romans had short hair. Romans started the short hair thing.
Well, that's
before that, men long hair.
And like I said, I'm all for long hair. I think long hair looks great. Anytime that I have friends who have long hair,
so
and anytime
I'm not denying that you think long hair looks great. I'm saying, don't call long hair woman hair.
I won't call, but okay. Let me speak from where I'm coming from. I'm saying long hair, similar to that of a woman's, because anytime I've seen someone with long hair, I think, God, that hair is beautiful. That hair is lush, and that hair, it makes me think of a woman's long, beautiful hair.
Okay, but haven't you seen a lot of beautiful men?
Of course, and I've seen their long, beautiful hair, and I've thought, wow, you got long, beautiful hair. And I think, God, like, what are they using? Pantene?
No.
Well, what do they use?
I don't know.
Well, that's what I mean.
I don't think Pantene's
what I'm saying is
winner.
I feel like somebody who has long hair is going to take care of their hair in the way of a woman taking care of her long, beautiful hair.
I think, but you're just generalizing because like for instance, your mother takes great care of her hair.
Yeah.
And so you've been raised around a woman who takes great care of her hair.
Mm-hmm.
But now you're generalizing and you're saying all women take great care of their hair. That's like a woman thing.
You're right. It does sound like I'm generalizing, and I want to say right here now for our podcast listeners, I am not generalizing, but I do want to say that yes, I am in the assumption that women are going to take better care of their hair. And I say that because most men don't even wash their hair.
There's definitely the numbers. I get what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I mostly just didn't want to call long hair woman hair because there's like probably millions. I can't think of a number, but millions of men more than millions of men throughout history.
Yeah.
Who have had long hair.
Oh, for sure. I can think of Fabio for one. Fabio Hagrid is another. And
think about how many, are we really having this conversation?
Afro Man, he had long hair. He had super long hair. So those are 3 people that I'm thinking of that had long hair.
Okay.
So great. So anyway, so I won't call it woman hair. And actually, this is actually a study that I actually found, a recent study. 98% of men will find their spouse's hair in their underwear by the time that spouse's, recent study, 98% of men will find their spouse's hair in that underwear by the time that spouse has passed. 98%. And the other 2% is only because women who are deciding to go hairless. So that's the only reason there is that 2% influx.
Where'd you find this study?
I think I found this online somewhere.
What's the source?
I don't have the source, unfortunately, but 98% of men anyway. So there's just a huge percentile of men who are experiencing this, and it's a lot to wrestle with when really you're kind of being bound and tied up, really kind of by this natural fiber that comes from your spousal sex organ. Well,
what?
Your lover, really. Hair that comes from your lover. Mm-hmm. So that's what I meant by that. So if you're listening and you're experiencing this type of syndrome, then feel free to write into the podcast and let us know how you deal with it. Are you using the lint roller? Or are you using the one that doesn't even have the sticky sheets? Are you using kind of the more old school lint roller that just kind of has the corduroy and you rub it down across your clothes? Just let us know. Write us into the podcast. That would be great to know. We would love to be able to relate to you. That's basically what we'd like to do here at the Heavy Bangs podcast for all you heavy bangers. And that's that. So great. So you're just going to continue having hair, and that'll be good. And I will just continue to deal with it. And that's what love is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So I do want to talk about a little holotropic breathwork. I just did this recently.
Yeah.
I just did a little holotropic breathwork.
Oh, I know.
I know you know. I know you know. Actually, I didn't even know what I thought.
Another one.
Another hair.
I'll just put it right over here in this.
Great. All Mischa's doing this episode is yawning and pulling out traps for me to get out of. Great. So that is my co-host. And another yawn. So holotropic. I didn't know this. I thought holotropic was actually like a style of something. I thought it came from like a certain but it's actually I didn't know that holotropic, it simply means oriented or moving toward wholeness. But what I do want to say is that I really loved when I did it.
Yeah, so did I.
What do you mean? So do I.
I also loved when you did it.
Why?
Because I had a good laugh.
You were laughing at me?
Yeah.
Why were you laughing at me? That's not very sweet.
Because you were in the living room and you were doing the breath work.
Well, yeah, I'm doing so. Look, okay, so here's the deal. So holotropic breathwork. Basically, there's a friend of ours. His named Jay Bradley. He teaches it. He's I guess you'd call him a spiritual wizard, really, especially with breath. And wonderful person. And he does this stuff, and this stuff has changed my mind. Has changed my mind. Has changed my life. Has changed both. Really, really, wow. But basically what you do, and for those of you who are unfamiliar, basically what you're doing is you're pumping your body full of oxygen. You're pumping it rapidly full of oxygen, so much that you're releasing hormones and you're releasing certain chemicals in your brain. You're releasing DMT, dimethyltryptamine, which is a natural thing that goes on in your body, and it releases it. So the first time I didn't realize that it was like a psychedelic experience. I didn't realize it was an out-of-body experience. I just thought it was like a place where you go and hang out with 8 people on a yoga mat and breathe together and then just feel good afterward, which you do, but I didn't realize that you also kind of blast out of your body. Did that happen to you the first time that you did it?
Blasting off?
Would you say that you had an out-of-body experience?
No.
You didn't?
Just every time I've done it, it's been very emotional.
Yeah.
It's been very, like, I guess, healing. Like you're sort of, I don't know. There's the first time I felt like it was very much like a healing of your inner child, or not your inner child, sorry, but more of like
your little inner spirit,
or just like going. It was focused. The very first time, I think the theme was sort of focused on going to yourself as a child and taking care of yourself.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And that was really powerful.
And there's usually some sort of intention with it, it seems like.
Yeah. Yep. And then another time I felt like my mom was like with me.
Right, right.
So it's always been emotional.
Yeah.
I think I've cried every time.
Yeah, I definitely was crying this last time.
Yeah, I know.
I was sobbing like a bitch. And I mean bitch in the way of a female dog. Female dogs tend to cry way more than male dogs. That's another study I found recently. I can go into that later, but
that's not true at all.
You don't know that. And what I will have to go to the facts. But I was sobbing. Oh gosh, I was working through some stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want to just go to bed this episode?
I'm very tired.
Yeah. Do you want to just go to sleep?
I mean, I was also tired when you did the breath work, which is why I didn't engage and do it. And I went in the bedroom instead. Right.
And, so you're just kind of tired all the time, huh?
And then I heard you doing the breath work from the bedroom, and and I had a lot of good laughs, and you were concerning Grace. Grace was worried for you.
And so Grace is a dog.
She got off the bed to go check on you at least once.
That's really sweet of her.
But then she came back in and she knew that there was nothing to worry about. It was just sort of something you had to get through.
Oh yeah, I was getting through it all right. Oh man.
And I was pretty concerned about the neighbors and what they might think was going on.
Well, because basically, I guess for the listeners, and because I was really in my own place, I'm not really sure what was really kind of being said or happening.
Nothing. I didn't hear anything that you could make out that you could say, "Oh, these are the words I heard." Mm-hmm. But I could do a bit of an impression.
Yeah, I'd go ahead and do a little bit of an impression for our listeners.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I think it'd be good just so kind of people.
I'm gonna move the microphone a little.
Just move it a little, but also not too far because you need the listeners to hear it.
Well, but have you ever seen Mariah Carey when she hits a big note? She takes the mic and she pulls it away from her mouth.
Are you gonna hit a note? Did I hit notes?
Well,
go ahead and just do the impression.
Okay, it was a bit like this.
Okay.
I'm also worried Grace is going to get up, but here goes.
That's why she'll be in the bedroom next episode.
Nope, she's not going to. Okay. That was basically what you did.
I did that for just that short amount of time.
No. Over and over and over.
For how long do you think that went on? And what was it? One more time, just curious. What did it sound like? Oh, wow. Yeah, gosh, that is some Therapy, huh? That's some stuff.
Yeah,
wow.
You
So
had
it
a
went
lot.
like that for probably how long do you think?
I mean, that portion was at least 10, 15.
Wow. So kind of 10 or 15 minutes of just sobbing. Wow.
And yelling.
I do. Okay. So I do remember yelling at some point.
And I don't know if it's because you had the headphones in that you didn't know your volume.
No,
You
I
weren't
think
aware,
I
or-
wasn't, I had no restraint available. I was so in the place of peace and serenity that that volume didn't exist. But I can imagine that the neighbors were, I imagine they were a little concerned that someone was maybe getting hurt.
Or that just something really bad had happened that day.
Well, I mean, in a way, something really good happened.
I wonder if you should have let them know. Because they're probably worried about you at this point.
I think they've been worried about me for a little while because, this isn't the first breath work I've done here at the house. And, I've also done other things here at the house that may cause them to question mental stability. And, there've been times where I've maybe lost my patience here in the house and
Oh, yeah. And lost your patients out of the house.
lost my patience outside of the house as well. And
I mean, I think there was a time that you heard a barking dog, charged outside of the back door, saw the neighbor with the barking dog, felt embarrassed, charged right back in.
well, yeah. Well, the thing is I'm not trying to create confrontation.
Yeah.
But I was very irritated about a barking dog. And I will continue to be very irritated about a barking dog if that dog is continuing to bark nonstop for my entire life at this apartment. It will make me go into
Well, I sure hope we don't
crazy
live our
place.
entire lives at this apartment.
If we do, I'll kill myself. And then you'll
well,
be
I
able
would
to...
hope you didn't kill yourself.
Well, I'll kill myself so you'll be able to find a place somewhere else.
Well, how would I be able to find a different place?
Well, you wouldn't be
better
able to
without
afford
you?
this place. For sure, you wouldn't be able to afford this place on your own, so you would have to get a different place. And maybe
That's
that...
not true.
Okay, well, okay, it's not... It is... Okay, well...
Well, but if you die, I simply won't live in this city, that's for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
You wouldn't live here and try to live on my legacy?
What? No.
Really? You would just let it be?
No, I'd go move to my family. I'd go live closer to my sister.
Well, you're going to have to be traveling down here because I'm going to be buried here. Be buried in Hollywood, California.
That's what you want? You want to be buried in Hollywood, California? That's what you want?
I need to be in the ground. I need to be in Hollywood or something. Where did David Bowie get buried? Did he get buried in Hollywood?
I don't feel like you're going to find out.
Just real quick, we're going to find out where David Bowie's where he was buried, and that will be where I will be buried when I die, which won't be for a very long time, unless something crazy happens, which hopefully it won't happen. I mean, hopefully something crazy does happen, but not on the way of death. You looking it up?
Yep.
Great. So, so yeah, we're going.
He chose to be cremated.
He chose to be cremated,
Mm-hmm.
and then where were his ashes spread?
Well, I don't know that his ashes are spread.
I just decided what I want done. What I want to be done is I want to be cremated the place where David Bowie was cremated.
This is so weird because there's so many. There's like a ton of gravestones with his name on it. So I don't know if people are just
maybe when they died, they're putting David Bowie's name instead.
I don't know. It's pretty. I'd have to look into why there's so many.
Oh, wow.
Oh, but his ashes are buried at a secret grave.
Secret grave.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. Okay, so here's...
But he's like from the
space.
UK.
He's from outer space.
So there's a great chance that his ashes are somewhere in the UK.
I don't know, though. I really don't know. I could see them being in Berlin. I know that he loved Berlin. But hard to say. This is what I want. When I die, I would like to be cremated in the oven that David Bowie was cooked in. And then I would like to have my ashes put in a rocket ship. It doesn't need to be like a Bezos rocket ship. It could just be really a firecracker that goes up 150 feet.
Okay.
And I want you to shoot my ashes into outer space.
Okay, so how is a firecracker going to do that?
Well, how powerful does it need to be to break into outer space?
Pretty powerful, pretty expensive.
So what I want you to do is when I pass, I want you to take all of my life savings that I've been working for, and I want you to take all of that money and buy it, or at least put a down payment on some sort of rocket ship that can launch me into outer space with my ashes and spread me over the ever vast ether.
So I don't want to disappoint you, but I definitely am not going to do that.
Well, then my next wife will.
Okay, well, she better have real, like, stupid money, because that is such a waste of money.
We have real stupid money. What are you talking about?
The reason he wants it to be secret is because he wanted to avoid creating a permanent public shrine.
I love that. Wow. God, I love that guy so much.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So anyway, so back to the holotropic breath work. We're all over the place, but this is basically what happens when someone doesn't really know how to run a podcast. We're figuring it out as we go. So, back to the holotropic breath work. It was actually invented by, is it invented, or I guess you'd say developed, maybe, by a guy by the name of Stanislav Grof, and that was back in 1975. Stan Groff was known for being one of the pioneers for, like, the LSD psychotherapy research deal. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So he was doing a lot of LSD psychotherapy over in, like, Big Sur, California.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful over there.
You haven't been.
I haven't been, but I've seen lots of photos on Google Images, and I've even gone on Pinterest and seen some stuff. But he was over there doing that at the I think it's the Eslan Institute. That's over there. It's like a nonprofit retreat center which focuses on humanistic alternative education. So stuff for wanting to be more mindful and helping yourself help other people's. So basically what he had found was he was doing this LSD psychotherapy on some patients, and he was noticing that a lot of the patients started to do this rhythmic breathing during the LSD treatment. And basically it just intensified their experience. Mm-hmm. So he thought, oh, wow, well, under the LSD, they're able to pump their bodies full of oxygen in this rhythmic way and then have even a more powerful experience. He realized that higher states of consciousness are available without the use of, synthetic chemicals or drugs. So that's basically how he discovered, or whatever, the breath work. Because then afterward, he started to get into that, and then he kind of made that a thing, and then that kind of really took off, because then he was really pushing that kind of stuff. So that's holotropic breath work, and I know it's clearly super interesting to you. I can tell by the response you're giving me and the yawns. So it's actually very very fascinating, and I do recommend, if anyone is interested in exploring their mind and maybe trying more mindfulness stuff, or if you're looking to improve your mental health, I recommend exploring it. I think it's super fascinating. For me, I don't do it all that often. I've done it maybe 4 times or so in the last couple of years, but it's been very powerful every time. And I am very much falling in love with it, although I do want to practice doing it more. But anyway, so for any of the listeners here who like to maybe do drugs, or maybe like to be mindful, or maybe not do drugs and be mindful, or maybe better themselves from the inside out, may I recommend holotropic breathwork. It's a very life-changing alternative healing. I'll go medicine.
Also, you should probably mention that if anybody is interested, to contact you or me. And
are you talking to me, or are you talking to the listeners now?
I'm talking to you to tell the listeners.
Okay, well, tell the listeners directly right now, if you will, if you want to. Tell the listeners directly, because they're listening.
Oh, okay.
So whatever you think.
Oh, it's whatever you think.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess this is how you'd prefer it.
So yeah, I guess for everyone listening, if you're interested in reaching out and
anyway, what I was going to say is that
go ahead.
We do have a friend, and I would actually say that really you kind of, your friend now, but really more of my friend.
100%.
And,
was your friend and now my friend.
And
we're probably a little closer.
And if you are interested, that to reach out, and we could give you our, my friend's information.
Yes, we absolutely can. And we can even just simply give you his name, Jay Bradley, very, very, very wonderful holotropic breathwork teacher. And reach out to Heavy Bangs Podcast.
He's kind of like a health guru.
He's
all
like
around.
Really a health guru, huh? He's a very fit, healthy, mindful individual.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get him on the podcast here one time, and we'll dive more into the holotropic breathwork, and he can give a little bit more insight to it. Maybe. I don't know if you guys even want that. I don't know. Who knows what you want?
I don't know if he wants it.
Who knows if he wants it? I guess I'd have to reach out to him and see if it's something that's interesting to him. But I do recommend that. So anyway, yeah, reach out to us at the Heavy Bangs podcast at gmail.com, or just go straight to the website, heavybangpodcast.com, and we can put you in the context of the breath. So, another fun thing. We went to that Van Gogh. We went to the Vincent Van Gogh immersive experience in Hollywood, which was super cool. Kind of like a big, crazy 3D projected visual experience.
Yeah, it was amazing.
It was a really cool. If you guys are in LA right now, I don't know how long it's going on for, but I think for maybe a couple months, maybe, or a month more.
I don't know. It's been going on for about a month, so maybe another month.
Yeah, really trippy and so cool. I wish I would have, I guess, learned a little bit more information about him, but.
Well, we kind of wanted to get through the swarms of people in the beginning where all the information was posted on the walls.
Right.
And then we just sort of made a beeline right for the gallery.
Honestly, a capital B, to be honest. It was a very strong B.
Well, because it seemed like there was a long line.
Yeah.
And so we were standing there, and then that lovely young lady came up to us. And
she was a woman, yeah.
She said, hey, there's no line.
Yeah. And that made me super excited because it looked like it was quite a line.
It looked very long.
And then we just kind of passed through everybody and got really good seats right in the corner. And it's a place. It is a place that you want to be.
But if you go, the first room of the gallery is awesome.
Yep.
But the next room,
that's where it's at,
is better.
Because
we didn't even know about the next room until we were about to leave.
Yeah. The next room has the stuff. Well, so the first room is it's like 30, maybe 25. It's like the size of a football field, maybe like 25-foot ceilings or something.
The first room?
Yeah.
Is the size of a football field?
Well, I'm saying that in perspective, but maybe it's half the size of a football field.
Yeah.
But still, so people know. With like 25-foot walls or 30-foot walls or something.
Yeah,
high walls. Projections all the way around, 360 degrees.
Yeah, and on the ground.
Well, that's in the second room.
That's in the second room.
Second room, they were projecting the visuals onto the ground.
Yeah. And there were like little circular couches.
Circular little couches, which are nice. So
we just sat on the floor.
We sat on the hard floor.
Which is fine. They do have an option for a bit more of an expensive ticket where they give you a cushion.
For $100 more, you can get a cushion.
It's not $100 more, okay. But it is more.
But it is more.
And you can get a cushion so that you can sit on the hard floor. But otherwise, if you just go into the second room, there might be plenty of couches available.
And there's even an upstairs if you want to get a bird's eye view.
Yeah.
Which is really fun.
The whole thing, I don't know much about strokes and
are you talking about masturbatory stuff?
No.
What are you talking about? Painting. Great. Oh, brush strokes. Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't know about the different mediums, And
I'm not judging you for that. What else do you have to say about that?
I'm just saying simply it's not like I look at art and can dissect a piece and what somebody used and what era it was from.
You're extremely uneducated in the...
I took art appreciation, but it's been a long time.
Okay.
Okay.
So you didn't really appreciate it.
Oh, I absolutely loved the class.
But you didn't retain any of it.
Not after 15 years now.
Okay. So so yes, it meant a lot to you, but it didn't mean that much, basically.
Yep, that's correct.
Okay.
However,
yeah,
I was very moved by the entire experience.
Mm-hmm.
They join the art with music.
Yeah, the music was incredible.
And the projections are constantly moving.
It was like a very psychedelic.
It was a bit psychedelic, and very powerful. And it felt like you were being transported to
like 18 whatever.
Yeah, to the late 1800s in Europe and in France, and seeing the world through Van Gogh's eyes.
Yeah. It was incredible. It was so inspiring.
And
emotional.
I had to try not cry. I had to make myself not cry.
Right. And you didn't even and were you a big Van Gogh fan? I mean, you would like his art.
Yeah.
But you're not like, oh, he's my guy. You don't have a Van Gogh tattoo.
No.
So kind of crazy that someone who, you know of, but don't know well, you can go and sit in front of all of their art for an hour and be emotionally affected.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just, I think, the human experience.
And it's art.
We can empathize with one another.
Yeah, 100%. I just think it's super cool. And I just know because I also was, there were moments where I was feeling super emotional. I'm already emotional as it is, but I love it when art does that to me, where it makes me feel. Yeah. It's super cool. And the guy's just so talented and really cool. So, a really great place to take drugs or not take drugs and go immerse yourself in some art.
But what a sad, it's very sad just to hear, that he was so tormented.
Just a tormented soul.
Which, I mean, I already knew that to an extent. I mean, I already knew that. But then you see his art and you feel like you're inside of his art because it's surrounding you literally on all these walls and moving and being accompanied by music. And then you just empathize with him so much more.
Mm-hmm. And then what were they saying that a lot of some of his most prolific work was at the final months of his life or something?
I know some of it was.
Yeah. And that's also crazy.
About all of it.
He died young, 35. Was it 35 or
37?
37. 37. Yeah, it was 37.
But it was young.
So
was it?
young.
Was that the age?
37, yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. That was when he got the shot in the stomach.
He got shot in the stomach.
And we don't know if it's suicide or if it was an accident. I'd say there's a good chance that it was probably suicide, but also...
that's a weird place to shoot yourself.
Yeah, why would you go in the stomach? I'd just shoot myself in the face.
I mean, obviously it was the 1800s, but I think it was probably still known that the heart and the brain are probably a way better place to shoot yourself if you're trying to kill yourself.
Right.
So the fact that he would, I don't know that is a suicide.
It doesn't sound like it could.
It could be.
When did guns come out? But were guns around?
Yes.
Okay, because what I'm saying is basically maybe not a lot of people had been killing themselves with guns before, so he's they're figuring it out as they go. So maybe he didn't realize that actually the heart or the head is maybe a kind of a straight line to it. Maybe he thought the stomach, well, this is where I put my food. This is where stuff goes into my body. Maybe
I could be wrong, but I thought that he had some sort of an understanding of anatomy from some classes he had taken or something.
Did he really?
I would have to look that up, but I'm under the impression he knew that
he knows
where your most vital organ. I mean, obviously your stomach is very important, but
it's got to be the number 2.
But I mean, for how long have we been chopping off heads? Clearly humans have known that you do this and it's done.
Right. So you just, basically, right. Well,
going for heads.
Right.
In like fighting.
Oh yeah, you'd always chop them off. Well, you wouldn't always. You mean you'd try though.
But I'm just saying like.
Sure.
I'm sure in 18 whatever.
I wonder if maybe the guillotine maybe all rented out that day or something. Maybe that's all he had really was a gun, and maybe the gun was shaped so strangely that really the only place he could put the bullet was really kind of in his stomach. Because I imagine if I was back then, and I was a little tormented and very depressed and alcoholic and not doing well mentally, I'm like in an insane asylum at 35 or whatever, 37. I've already kind of lost part of my ear in a scuffle. I mean, I'm just thinking that maybe the Rent-A-Center was out, because that would be the way that I would go, because it's quick, it's easy, and just kind of
the guillotine is the way you would go. If you could, I mean, that's your first choice though.
If it's back in the 1800s, yes. It's either that or I guess I would go by 4-horse.
Where you go by what?
4-horse.
4-horse?
Yeah.
Is that where you have 4 horses pull you in all different directions?
Yeah, I tie a rope to each limb to my arm.
And that's the way you'd like to go.
If the guillotine was not available, I would do the horse the second way.
Okay.
So, and I do that just to kind of make it quick.
Another way that they used to kill you way, way, way back in the day. Like, I think this is something the Persians did.
Yeah. What is it?
They would like strap you to like a little boat.
Yeah.
And, I don't know what the boat would look like, but a little boat, and you can't move.
Uh-huh.
And then they'd pour like honey all over you. And then just send you out.
And honey? Where did they get all this honey?
Well, I think honey's probably, been around for a long time.
Yeah, but it's also so expensive.
But they'd, put all this like honey on people, and then they go out to just be in the ocean, but just be out in the water, and they can't move. So they're slowly, probably quickly dehydrating.
Yeah.
Can't get water.
Right.
So they're going to die very slow.
Uh-huh.
And now they're going to have bugs attracted to them constantly.
Oh, God. So
well,
the bugs are going to like be eating them alive.
While they're
dying slowly.
Very dehydrated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to die, I'm going to want to be hydrated for sure.
But that made me think of the reason I thought of that is because, the horses pulling bodies apart was also another very a death you tried to avoid.
Right. Well,
that was like the kind, like you get that kind of death when we need to make a statement.
You like had too many parking tickets or something back then. They really kind of hammered down on those. They also used to just another way they used to kill people back in the day is just by setting rocks on them.
Stoning them?
No, not stoning, because that's like throwing. I mean, just kind of laying someone on the ground as they're alive and just slowly kind of
crushing them?
Not even crushing, because they're not even really big rocks.
But they end up crushing them.
Well, maybe eventually, but I think they basically kind of laying stones on top of them until they no longer are alive.
Right, crushed.
Well, crush is implying that there's some sort of like smush.
Well, there is a smush.
Maybe, but I don't know that you're aware of it. Maybe you don't hear it.
Oh, you're aware of it.
Well, these are very small stones. They're almost like gravel.
Yeah, but you take a big box of rocks or a huge, gigantic box of rocks.
Okay, yeah, I can picture that.
Very heavy.
Yeah.
So now you're going to be lying in a hole, and there's just how many hundreds of pounds of rocks on top of you. You are being crushed. And I could actually show you a photo. I haven't been, but there's a friend of mine from a long time ago.
Crushed by rocks?
No. But she had gone to a graveyard where, it's Peanut. Peanut is here.
Oh, Peanut the squirrel is here, everybody. Or is that Peanuts?
I think I can't tell, but man, she is, what do we do?
Well, we just got to let her be. So basically we have Peanut, who we've talked about, the squirrel that we've kind of taken in, and now we have another squirrel who actually has a penis. So I've been calling this squirrel Penis, which is the male version of Peanut. And I say penis because I definitely, I almost touched his penis because it was out when I went to give him a peanut the first time I saw him. So he's a male. And I don't know what this one is.
I can't tell, but I feel bad that we're leaving him or her
It's just got to be what it is. But
anyway, to wrap that up,
yeah,
the friend had shown me pictures of different gravestones, and these different people had died in awful ways, and one of them said crushed to death.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And was it from slowly setting stones on them?
I'll have to figure out exactly what the process of being crushed to death,
Okay.
Back in the the witch hunt days was, but
well, that's interesting.
Makes sense though that it would be with
probably back
rocks.
then. Yeah. Or gravel. I mean, gravel's also, if you can't find rocks or gravel's also easy to maneuver around too. Smaller rocks. Just as helpful. So we'll just kind of go right into the Mischa Learns Stuff. All right, that time to learn a little something. What did you bring to the podcast today?
It was inspired by the Vincent van Gogh.
Oh, yeah?
Experience.
Awesome.
So at one point, when I was mentioning how they're, accompanying all the art with music, they played Edith Piaf.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's a French woman.
Yes. Was.
She's dead.
Yep. And at that point...
Kind of really full circle to how this episode really kind of started.
That is true.
So...
And that was, I think, the first point that I wanted to cry during the...
Because you missed her?
The show. No, because her song, the Je ne regrette rien, regret is a really hard word for me to say in Francais.
Mm-hmm.
So, je ne, and then regret in French.
Got it.
And rien.
Okay.
That song, when they played that song, I wanted to cry because it's a very emotional song. I mean, most of her songs are that way. I mean, she's singing with like such emotion and those
Well, that's what music
ballads.
is, really, You're singing with emotion. You're emoting lyricism.
Yeah, but let's be real. Not all artists do that equally.
Well, I happen to think Ariana is very good.
This isn't about Ariana, but let's not compare Edith Piaf with Ariana Grande.
That's fine. Okay.
Or, I mean, anybody else at this moment.
I won't compare them then. That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
But she led a very interesting and also tormented life a little bit.
Is that so?
I mean, not in the way that, she had mental illness so much as Vincent van Gogh, but definitely a lot of pain in her life.
Well, don't we all experience that?
And some more than others.
100%. And that has to go with what are you doing for your mental health, don't you think? So
she's born in 1915, and she was actually born the name Edith Giovanna Gassion.
Oh, that's a very French name.
Mm-hmm. Born in France. Her mother, who was also a singer and a performer, abandoned her at birth.
During the birth?
I would imagine not during the birth.
Okay, so after the birth, she then kind of split from the hospital.
She abandons her baby and the dad, who her dad was also a performer, to kind of, do a solo act.
God. Her mom left to go do her own solo act.
Yeah, I mean, she's a singer. She's a performer. Okay. So she leaves, and about a year later, her dad, Edith's dad, enlists in World War I.
Okay.
So Edith is now, the dad takes her to live with his mother, her grandmother. Or
Is that
actually,
like an apartment? Probably, I imagine.
where they go to live?
Yeah.
No. Oops.
No.
Hit the mic. No. The grandmother lives in a brothel.
Oh, so a strip joint.
No.
Oh, a whorehouse.
A whorehouse.
Yes, and respect to those hardworking women.
So Edith is raised
By whores.
by prostitutes and the like what's the main, there's like the
queen bee.
Yeah, that person always has a name, doesn't she?
Well, isn't it a pimp or a
No. Like she's like the madam.
Oh, okay. Is it like Serenity? I don't know. What's the name?
I don't know. It's definitely not Serenity.
Okay. Oh, but it's like a madam of something.
Yeah.
Okay.
At 3 years old, she went blind.
Edith
went blind at 3 years old due to complications from meningitis.
And meningitis is it's an eye disease, obviously.
It affected the eyes. It's like a brain disease.
It's a brain disease. Okay, because for me, it was making me think.
It's inflammation of the fluid and membrane surrounding your brain and spinal cord.
Oh, wow. So really nothing to do with dentistry. I don't know.
Dentistry?
For some reason, I felt like it had to do something with teeth.
No.
Which was weird that it would go to the eyes.
What I had found was meningitis. Swelling for meningitis typically triggers signs and symptoms such as headache, fever, and a stiff neck. But and then obviously things can get much worse.
God, I'm wondering if I have meningitis because I don't have a fever, but I have been having a stiff neck for a while.
Well, I mean, I know people who have had a stiff neck ever since they got the vaccine. So,
is that true?
Yes.
Stiff neck ever since the vaccine.
Yes.
And this is to be clear, this is the COVID vaccine.
Correct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other
thing.
A whole other thing we'd have to.
But gosh, so, and just to touch on it for a second. So are they sleeping or no?
The people?
Yeah, with a stiff neck.
I don't know.
I mean, you don't get sleep with a stiff neck.
Yeah, I don't know how their sleep is.
Oh, God. This is multiple people too.
There are 3 people. One of which, 2 of them had a stiff neck that went away. One, it's never gone away, and it's been months. And neither have, I believe, migraines.
Oh gosh, that's not good.
No.
But that's and that's one of the joys to taking kind of an experimental vaccine.
Yeah. Is
that you don't really know what you're going to get with it.
You don't.
No. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, definitely keep it in mind.
Just keep it in mind.
Mm-hmm. I would say I felt a little bullied into getting the vaccine. I am a vaccinated individual. Do I have regrets? I very well might.
But you won't say it here on the podcast?
Well,
or will you?
I also may not know at the moment.
That's true. You just may not know.
I may not know if, there was something to regret later.
And I actually have been unvaccinated.
You got it taken out of
I had gotten it removed. So I had gotten, you
got vaccinated.
I got vaccinated.
And then you went through a procedure.
And we went through a procedure to have I actually had the vaccine removed because I just wasn't into it. I felt bullied by it. I felt bullied into it, just like a lot of people did. And, there's really no science or health studies backing the vaccine.
Well, there
are.
There are. I don't know if you.
I didn't say that right. And for all the listeners, my apologies. But here's what I'm saying: is there isn't a lot of.
I think the only thing you can accurately say
so
right now is that there's certainly no evidence of down the road what's going to happen because
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Okay.
Is we don't have any long-term effects of the vaccine.
We don't have any long-term
scientific medical research of the long-term effects of the vaccine.
Correct.
That is what I meant to say a minute and a half ago.
But we do have a lot of studies.
A lot of studies on it.
Yeah.
Lot of studies.
Some are a little spooky.
Some are spooky studies.
Some make me hope that I'm going to be okay.
Yeah, and I wonder that too. Because I know that now, me being unvaccinated, I'm really, it's not an issue of mine, but it does make me concerned for you because I know that, you jumped on that so quick.
I was one of the first.
You were one of the first people to get vaccinated.
Because I was working with a government program.
With a government program. And here's what I want to say.
That was giving food to seniors and people at high risk.
Probably one of the nicest things the government has ever fucking done. That's what I want to say. And I'm not even trying to get political or governmental, but here's what I want to say. The government can kiss my fucking ass. And that's all I want to say. And I love everybody.
Anyway.
And I love you.
Anyway.
Yes.
That's what I was doing. And then we were getting married, and I thought, oh gosh, that'll probably make everybody feel safer at the wedding if I'm vaccinated and I'm doing this and working with these people, even though I was hardly working with them. I was just giving them food. And it's not like honest. I was like licking their faces or even talking to them, really. If you were licking their face, I would, first of all, don't want to do that to a senior. Someone and I shouldn't have said the licking. That's so silly because that's not how people are giving each other COVID. Well, first of all, that is how some people are giving. Sure, some people. Anyway, isn't this about Edith? I don't know, because now we're talking about what is right and what is not right. But this is supposed to be Mischa learns stuff. You're right, Mischa learns stuff. So let's get back to the topic. Mischa learns stuff. Go ahead. So Edith, she had COVID. She was blind by 3. No, she had meningitis. She had meningitis and she was blind by 3. At 3 years old, she became blind. Raised by whores and respectable women. But like 4 years later, the blindness went away. No shit. So she was blind for 4 years, and there's something called like keratitis or something like that. Something can make it so you cannot see for a partial amount of long periods of time and then come back. Yeah, some sort of inflammation in the eyeballs. I don't know. What a gift from God. Something. I don't know. To have the gift of sight given back to you after it was gifted to you and then taken away. Yes, absolutely. That's beautiful. Yeah. That is beautiful. It is. Because Ray didn't get that same respect. He was blind his entire life. Mm-hmm. Was he born blind? No. He wasn't. No. But then he turned blind. Yeah. And he was blind his entire life. Yeah. Imagine that. Imagine Edith, who had lived before him, had the same deal happen to her. Only 4 years. Ray's got to dive in, all in. That's heavy. That's heavy. So that's heavy. And then at 14 years old, she and Jamie Foxx. And it happened to Jamie Foxx too. No, it didn't. Well, I'm pretty sure it did. Jamie Foxx lost his vision, didn't he? No. He didn't? No. Okay. Oh, okay. No, now I'm seeing where I'm making that mistake. Okay, correct. Continue. So at 14, she joins her dad. Because she can see him for the first time in a long time. So she's out of the brothel. She's now living with her dad. Wow. And they're performing. Her dad is also like a performer. Comedian or what? He's a circus acrobat. I don't know what that means back then. Well, let me break it down for you, basically. So there's a circus and there's an acrobat people. So basically those are the people who are going to be swinging and flipping through the air on the moving poles. And so they're going to be doing all sorts of flipping and acrobating, and they'll probably even do a little slacklining. Yeah, I don't know what that meant in the early... well, it really means the same 20th century, but it means the same thing. If meningitis means meningitis back then, I think basically that means the same thing. So at that point, she's now singing in the streets of Paris for a meager living. Well, yeah, she's a beggar, and there's no disrespect to a street hustler, and hanging out with some petty criminals, and she's. This is the life she was born into. Yeah. She gives birth at 17. Does she abandon her child? Well. Really? She's not the best mom. Well, so now I could see she wasn't taught from the best. Sure. And she's 17 years old. That's no excuse, but it is an excuse. It's not an excuse. It's an excuse because her mother didn't give her the tools that she wasn't. See, I was raised in a place where I had values instilled, and I knew how to be a respectable human being.
and I knew how to treat other people.
I can't even. I would want to see the child that you raised at 17.
Oh God, he'd be a little angel, or she. But you can't do that if you're not given the tools. She wasn't given the tools because her tool went and got cigarettes and never came back.
So she's also now she's performing now. So that was known like the baby would be maybe left in the apartment sometimes.
Makes sense. I'd leave it there too if I had a performance. I had a show.
And then I think the dad, because she also like left the dad, and
she left the dad when the dad stood by her side.
Well, she left I don't know, whatever, things happen in relationships. She left the dad. She went off with her like maybe half sister or something, and she's performing. She's got the baby. Someone just leaves the baby in an apartment. Then the dad comes, takes the baby. It's like, look,
kidnaps the baby for his own.
Yeah, it's like, if you want to be with us, you can be with us, but like you gotta drop all this stuff. Anyway, baby dies at 2 years old.
Now
of meningitis.
The synchronicity to that.
Yeah.
So was the baby blind?
I don't know. I don't know about the baby's eyes.
But the baby died from the same disease that blinded Edith for 4 years.
Yeah.
So is it hereditary? Meningitis is hereditary.
So. No. It's more of something that
is conjunctivitis hereditary?
Contracted. Conjunctivitis.
Is that hereditary?
I don't think so. It sounds like something you get from. So I don't know, but no, I don't think.
What is conjunctivitis? Can you look it up just really quick? I'm curious because I'm wondering if this is similar.
It's like I can't even get through.
Get through what?
This Edith Piaf information.
We're learning about Edith Piaf right now.
Well, right now we're going to be learning about conjunctivitis.
Well, just to kind of clear
which is also
up.
known as pink eye.
No kidding.
It's inflammation of the outermost layer of the white part of the eye and the inner surface of the eyelid. It makes the eye appear pink or reddish.
Is it hereditary?
I think we all know what causes pink eye.
Okay, because I've had it several times, and I don't mean a lot, but I mean I've had it probably 3 or 4 times.
I've only had it once.
Okay, well I've had it maybe 3 max. I added the 4th time, but it's been 3 times, and
it's pink eye is caused by bacteria.
Okay, so it's not hereditary.
No.
Thank God, because I don't want to I don't want to later have children and have to worry about them having conjunctivitis issues, because it is really hard to deal with, especially when you're in a public's eye, and I don't and no pun intended there.
And you want to know what causes meningitis?
Well, yeah, just so the listeners know, because I'm sure they would like to know. Is it because the baby died at 2? I'm starting to wonder.
Viral infections are the most common cause of meningitis.
Okay, so corona, crazy. So COVID also
infections. I don't look.
But a viral, that's COVID. So COVID causes meningitis. It had to have been.
What?
If it's a viral bacterial infection or something, that has COVID written all over it.
Okay, look.
That's probably pre-COVID-19. I don't know.
Can I?
Yes, please continue. Of course, I'm I'm juiced on this information.
Are you?
I am, yes.
Because we talked about a lot of other stuff.
We've covered a lot today. We've really kind of covered a bunch in today's episode, which will hopefully be good for the listeners, because we are losing some listeners.
Are we?
Yeah, we're losing some listeners, but that's okay because we're just here to just be here for people to experience if they're wanting to.
So in 1935, so what does that make her? She's born in 1915.
Well, 2021 right now.
She's 20.
Okay, 1935, she's 20.
Discovered by a cabaret owner. And then now she starts working her first night job.
Oh, no kidding. So she's kind of like an agent. She kind of recruited almost.
Basically. And that cabaret owner is who started her name change, because he used to call her La Môme Piaf, which is Parisian slang for like kid sparrow or the little sparrow.
That's cute.
So Piaf was not her last name, but then she went, changed to Edith Piaf. So she's like Edith Sparrow almost.
That's really cool.
Edith Little Sparrow.
Little Bird.
But apparently the reason why he called her that is because she was under 5 feet tall and 90 pounds.
Jeez Louise.
Tiny
little
with such a gigantic voice.
Ass? Oh, she had a big voice. Did she have a big ass?
I don't know about her
I wouldn't
ass.
imagine so if she's less than 5 foot. And
I wouldn't, at 90 pounds, no.
I can't imagine it'd be very big. But imagine how nice it would be if it were.
And then she starts just singing in, big music halls. And pretty soon, like very quickly, she becomes...
world renowned, basically?
Well, not world renowned at first, but definitely...
Francais renowned?
Yes.
Got it.
In the United States, it took the U.S. longer to catch on.
Well, I didn't even found out about her until, friggin' 2011. Okay,
well, you weren't alive when she was alive.
Yeah, and that's facts.
But she was one of the highest paid performers at the height of her career.
Really?
Yeah. So she was
at that time, yeah.
She definitely found lots of success.
So how long was she really successful for?
Well, she died. I mean, we're not even at her death yet.
Oh God, so she's dead.
No, we're not there yet.
So she's alive now.
She's successful until she dies.
So she does die.
Yeah, she does.
Well, get to it. Give us some more information, please. You're leaving me on the edge of my seat.
Of course, she had different relationships, but she...
Like bisexual, or what do you mean? What do you mean by different relationships? You can't say different relationships and not specify what you mean by that.
Different relationships with different people. She had different romantic relationships. Women? I don't know her personal life.
Okay.
But she had different relationships with men for sure.
Okay. Well, that's good to know.
Just like you've had many relationships throughout your life.
Of course.
And I've had many as well.
That's unfortunate.
But there's one particular who was, there was a man named Marcel Cardon who was a boxer.
French boxer.
And he was in a plane crash. It is said that he was on his way to see her. It's also said that that's where she sort of started going downhill after his death.
What do you mean downhill?
Well, depression for one,
Well, sure.
But then later in her life, she gets into multiple bad car accidents.
Are these all her fault?
I don't know whose fault.
It doesn't say.
No.
Okay. Well, if anything, it's just a reminder to listeners to just make sure and drive safe. You can't mess around with those things.
That's true.
I've been in a couple of fender benders myself, and none of them have been my fault, but so I can relate. But continue.
Okay. So due to the injuries she sustains in car accidents, she becomes addicted to morphine. 'Cause she's
narcotics.
Obviously in hospitals.
And they've been pumping those things into people for years.
And so her health is failing. She's addicted to morphine and alcohol.
And morphine, I feel like I'm aware of morphine, but morphine is like a heroin.
Yeah.
It's like a liquid heroin, like a heroin drip. Kind of.
I think it can be in pill form.
Can it really?
Sure, why not?
Well, why wouldn't it be? Sure, you can probably do it either way. Okay, just good to know.
Okay.
Not for my own, not my cup of tea, but just information is.
Mm-hmm. So even though it's like, but she does end up getting married again toward the end of her life. So it seems like she's happy, but really she's got like this. Of course she's heartbroken, but she also has this like crippling pain. It's an arthritis
in her heart.
And in her body from the car accidents that I've mentioned.
I know, of course, and from the heartbreak.
So her last performance was at a place called Paris Olympia, which, I don't know, maybe people in Paris know where that is. And she was hunched over in pain and barely able to stand. And that's her last performance.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
So how shortly after that performance did she decide to go into the next realm?
I don't know.
Well, when was that performance?
I don't know.
Okay, well, when did she die?
She died.
I mean, this is
1963.
Thank you, 1963. So that's shortly.
She was 47.
She died at 47
from liver cancer.
She an alcoholic?
Yes, I already mentioned that.
Oh, no, that's right. I remember the alcoholic part.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay.
She died same age as Judy Garland.
And who's Judy?
Dorothy.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
From The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
Oh, she died that young?
Very tormented as well. Drug
Was it
addiction.
heroin that did her? What did her in?
Oh my goodness.
Gosh, this episode is, God, we opened with death and end with death. God, isn't that something? Isn't that beautiful? When a podcast can have synchronicity throughout the entire episode and kind of thread it together as one sewn sock of an episode, that has got to be nice. That's got to be great to listen to.
I mean, it just says drug overdose.
It doesn't say what kind of drugs?
No.
What drug
accidental drug overdose.
It doesn't say when or what.
Sleeping tablets.
Sleeping tablets. Okay. This is where I'm going to pipe up.
But that's Judy Garland, if we can just make sure that.
Yes, and that's Judy Garland who died from sleeping pills. And, sleeping pills, you guys, are so dangerous in today's world. And people are taking them because sleep is just hard to find.
Yeah, man, I would like to get my hands on some sleeping pills.
And I will find some for you. I will get you as many as you want to take. But I'm saying, please don't take them, you guys, because they can be so dangerous and bad stuff can happen. And I've known people to die from them. I had a friend who, maybe that person had a little cocaine in their system and took a couple sleeping pills to try to fall asleep, and then that person is unfortunately no longer with us. And that's just a rest in peace. Shout out to Michael. I love you. But yeah, sleeping pills are the real killers. It's like they are like sleep forever pills, really.
They can be.
If you take enough of them.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I will only let you take a half a pill a day. Well,
anyway.
Then a quarter pill. Nothing more. Nothing more. Continue on this, Edith. This is great.
We're pretty much done. I mean, she has died. But just end on that her death was, of course, mourned throughout all of France.
Mm-hmm.
There were thousands of people that lined the route to her funeral procession.
Oh wow!
Procession.
That's super cool.
And
I mean, the support is super cool.
Yeah, it was the first time since World War II that traffic had been stopped in France.
Oh, wow.
Or in Paris.
Wow. Well, she has easily one of the most beautiful voices I think I've ever heard in my life.
Absolutely.
And, I will go out and say that I'm going to probably butcher this, but Liam Van Rose?
La Vie en Rose.
La Vie en Rose is probably one of my favorite songs.
And she wrote that song.
Did she not write all of her songs?
No.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. No, that song.
Some songs were written for her, which I think is the case for a lot of artists. But
right.
She wrote that song.
Oh, wow. That's even cooler because every time that song comes on, I'm in Francais, in France, and shouts out to Tom Petty. Ha! I said Tom Petty. I meant Tom Penny. Tom Penny is obviously a very famous French skateboarder who had a mini ramp part in the Flip video Sorry, where he skated to Edith. And that is how I found out about Edith. I think back in 2000, I think it was back in 2005, if not 2004. So that's history for you. I feel like you're going to say something really prolific, no?
No, I just wanted to make sure that when I said that she wrote that song that I was telling the truth.
And are you telling the truth?
Yes.
Great. And that is what we do here at the Heavy Bangs podcast. We do the truth seeking and the finding.
So we're losing listeners, huh?
We're losing some listeners. French listener no longer.
Wow.
I know. It's like you spoke French and then they stopped listening.
Wow.
I don't know what it is, but our listeners are being, I feel like they're getting meningitis.
Maybe.
And I don't know if it's, if maybe the podcast is just too much or maybe it's too little. That's why I want to make sure and bring juicy stuff like today, where we're bringing kind of juicy stuff for the people, for the listeners, and just making them feel good and making them feel like, this is what I want to be listening to. And these are the people I like to surround myself in my ears.
Maybe they need to be shorter episodes.
Shorter episodes?
Yeah, like little 20-minute ones.
20-minute episodes?
Mm-hmm. Kind of get in there and get in, get out.
I feel like I'd just get done welcoming people to the podcast by then.
You just got to say a quick hi and then get to it.
I mean, maybe that's something we can think about maybe next episode. So if all you heavy bangers, if you're looking for shorter episodes, if you're looking for maybe a 10, 15-minute episode, write into the podcast. Let us know. We'll give you that. We're kind of like those yoga videos where you can leave comments in the comment section, and then we'll actually take those into consideration and try to provide the best overall show for everybody. And that's what we're trying to do here. So again, I just want to say thank you to the very, 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 very few people we have actually listening to the podcast. And if you want to subscribe on YouTube or on any of your Apple podcast or Spotify or Google, any of your podcast platforms, do that. Let us know that you actually like listening, or you don't by just unfollowing or not paying attention anymore like the other people. Either way, we're paying attention, and we appreciate the very small, minuscule amount of people who are also paying attention as well.
Yes.
And with that, we're gonna bring it home. We're gonna bring it home.
Motivational speech of the day.
Corks.
What is it?
Cork.
Quirk?
Cork.
Cork?
Corks.
Like wine bottles.
Yeah.
Wine, grapes, glass, manufacturers. People in buildings, people making stuff. Doing things to better your life. How are you spending every moment? Are you clocking in? Are you clocking off? Are you taking that break? If you're not taking the break, you're going to get your employer in trouble, that's for sure. And you want to, you take the break because you deserve it. And actually, it's like a governmental law that's instilled in all employment. So make sure and take the breaks, because if you're not taking the breaks, chances are you're probably not acting your best, and you're probably not giving your best. And I can guarantee your mental health is not at the top of the game. And that's why I want to urge you guys to take vitamins and eat them and hydrate. But if you're taking vitamins every day, you have really nothing to worry about as far as malnutrition or nutrients not being inside of your body, because you're actually putting them there. And people make vitamins, and they actually come from people who aren't doctors making the vitamins. So think about that next time you try to put that in your mouth, and think about it, because where are those coming from? And that's what brings me to my next thing. Where is cork coming from? Where are wines coming from? Where are flotation devices coming from? That's what I want to mean. That's what I'm asking in today's episode. Where is it coming from? What? What are you saying?
I think cork comes from a tree.
Cork comes from... Okay. Okay, here's the deal. I know that it comes from a tree. I'm speaking metaphorically. I'm speaking metaphorically when I speak of a cork, where it comes from. What I'm asking is, what tree does it come from? Where is that tree planted? Where did it grow? And is that tree floatable? Can that tree float, and can you push it inside of a tight little hole that maybe a liquid is in on the other side? Because that's what I'd like to know. Basically what I'm saying here and now is that you need to plug your holes. If you're not plugging your holes, stuff is going to fall out of there. I myself have had this experience before where I have not plugged all of my holes, and I have literally lost stuff, and I did not know I was losing it. And that is why it's important to seal the deal. Plug it up. Don't be afraid to stop the flow. It's important to keep the juices going, but if the juice needs to stop, plug it up and push it in there tight. Because here's what I will tell you. If you don't do that, you are going to embarrass yourself in front of an Applebee's. So, must I say it again? Plug it up, your butt. Butt plug. Stop gravity from moving down. Move up with your momentum and your force when you're putting a cork where it needs to go. Listen, I'm not going to be the one to spell it out for you. Life gets tough. You're going to get curveballs. You're going to have uphills. You're going to have downhills. You're going to have a roller coaster coming at you from a left side, and there's not even a track anywhere near you. So you need to be prepared. So be prepared. Bring a cork. Bring something to protect yourself from losing stuff that is on the inside on the outside. Be the person to stop the flow. Yes, we need to keep moving. Yes, flow is good. Yes, being a river is better than being a rock, but sometimes you have to stop and you need to just let things build back up. So then you can release them again and release them all at the same time and flow it out of your asshole. Thank you guys so much for listening to the episode. This is Heavy Bangs. We appreciate your support. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.